Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bravo Tea with a Stay-at-Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to talk all things Bravo. Welcome back, everyone. So this is going to be my gossip episode, and boy, do we got some hot gossip that's on the press right now. Before we get into it, I just wanted to say I had a very fun birthday. I'm now officially 33, a year older than I was in my last episode. We went out for dinner one night, which was fun, to like a new place. And then the next night we stayed in on my actual birthday and we made pizza, like homemade pizzas with our daughters. So that was fun. And we did like a little movie and popcorn with them. So I had a fun, relaxing, nice birthday weekend. And I hope everyone else enjoyed their weekend. I hope everyone has like gotten back in their routine, because I feel like we are, like, all of our Christmas decorations are put away. Our house is clean. The snacks are reorganized. The children are back in school. Our littlest one goes 3 days a week, and our oldest is in kindergarten. So she's there every day. So we're just back on our regular routine, and we're back on our regular scheduled programs for Bravo, which I'm happy about. But let's get into some hot tea. So I think the hottest tea is the Trace Amigas are no more. And I'm not going to say I'm like totally shocked, but because Tamra, I feel like, does do this. I feel like she's like a fair-weathered friend. She's very wishy-washy, because we have seen her and Vicki go up and down, but all of her tweets she had, they're officially done, I'm pretty sure. Like, she was posting a picture of just herself and it said Uno. And then she was saying some remarks about January 6th. She's like, yeah, that was a hard day for Vicki. Just really low blows. And then she was commenting, because a lot of people have said, like, oh, well, you're not a good friend to Shannon because where were you for her DUI? And now she's like best friends with Alexis Bellino, which I do think is weird, because back in the day, she was the one that was mean to her, called her Jesus jugs. And then, as we remember, Alexis's ex-husband sued Tamra and Shannon before. So it's kind of like, I don't even know why she would want to like talk to Alexis. And obviously now, fast forward to Alexis is dating John Jansen, Shannon's ex. Shannon is hurt by Tamra, because these are things I feel like Tamra does. She's like not super loyal. Like, Vicki is ride or die friend. She's like, I don't need to be friends with Alexis, and she upsets you, so you're my girl. But the Trace Amigas are no more. Yeah, don't act that way, Tamra. She closed out with all her raging tweets of, I feel like I just took the biggest dump of my life and I feel relieved. So she is saying she's dumping Vicki and Shannon as friends, but I feel like Vicki and Shannon have dumped her as a friend, because the Trace Amigas has now turned into duo, because Shannon and Vicki posted and announced that they're going to do a little tour by themselves, and their co-host is going to be Doug Butin on the Jeff Lewis show. I don't know if any of you guys listen to Jeff Lewis. I love to listen to his podcast. It really makes me laugh, but I also love to watch his show, Hollywood House Lift. He goes and renovates like a room in celebrities' houses, and he just has a funny little team. So Doug is one of his people, and I know Jeff Lewis is really good friends with Shannon, so I feel like that has something to do with why he's going to do the little tour with Vicki and Shannon. But there's only a couple stops on the tour. I'm hoping to get to one, because one is where my best friend lives in Florida, so maybe I could pop down for like a super quick visit, and her and I can go to that. And if I do go to that in April, I will definitely be getting as much information as I can for the podcast. It says you can meet them, so that would be nice if I could meet them real quick and do a little photo op and maybe have a minute chit chat for the podcast. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. But Trace Amigas are no bueno, no more. just the Vicki and Shannon show. And then I guess Tamra has Teddy with their Two T's in a Pod podcast, which I still don't really get that. And I feel like that caused a little bit of tension between her and Vicki anyway, because Vicki really hated Teddy. And Teddy was the one that even made that January 6th comment, which is very inappropriate, I think. And then obviously Tamra using it now. She already knows Vicki was upset about it, so just an extra sting that I feel like she does do. She does hit low when it's time for her to hit low. But I don't know. I'm curious to see if Alexis will make an appearance this year on Orange County. Vicki has come out and said, which I know I already said on the podcast, but she said that she would not come back unless she was a full-time house wife. But now with this, I don't even think she would want to be a full-time housewife. Or she may want to so she could have Shannon's back. Because if Shannon and Tamra aren't friends, I don't know who poor Shannon is going to be friends with. I mean, maybe her and Heather can cozy up together a little more next season. Because Heather and Tamra, I feel like Tamra backstabs Heather a lot. I mean, she backstabs everybody. But I don't know. We'll see how that works out for Shannon, because she's had a rough year. I hope she's not like all alone out in the street by herself, the streets of Orange County. But some fun, quick news. The Vanderpump Rules cast was the Golden Globes nominated this year. Unfortunately, they did not win the gold, though, but I think it's pretty cool they were nominated. I saw, like, Selling Sunset was there also. Not sure if they won anything. I actually didn't even know the Golden Globes were on until I woke up the next day and saw pictures of them. I'm like, oh, they all look really good. Where are they? And realized they were there. Didn't even know it was on. Taylor Swift was, of course, there. And she was with her friends, and it looked like a fun night. Everyone looked good. Ariana and Katie, I feel like I bet they kept to themselves, because this is what I'm going to be curious about next season. I feel like Katie is really behind Ariana, ride or die. I could kind of see Sheena being like getting close to Tom. And I feel like Lala didn't like Tom anyway before, but like I could also feel like she'll be like, you know what, whatever. Like, because she also wasn't best friends with Ariana. But I'm really curious to see Sheena, like, how she's going to work it, because she was really close to Tom, and she was really close to Ariana, and she was really close to Raquel. That is another thing, too. I hopped on a TikTok live last night, which was the first time I hopped on one. It was pretty cool. A girl that I follow her, she follows me. The Connection Queen, I think her name is. Shout out. We had been messaging, and she said she was going to go live and talk about Rachel Goes Rogue. Now, this is Raquel's new podcast that I was just like, I don't know if I could bring myself to listen to it, but I wanted to listen to it so I could report on it on the podcast. So she did a TikTok live where we all like logged on and listened with her live. And thank God she thought to sped up Raquel's voice, because she talks so slow, and I feel like when she talks slow, she sounds like this, and like she's gonna cry. Speeding up her voice was a little more doable to listen to it, but the things she was saying, I mean, oh my God. So what we would do is we'd listen and we'd like take a pause every couple minutes, and we were all like commenting, and then later some of us got on and spoke live. But the things she was saying were just awful, like still no remorse, just like the reunion, which is why I feel like people are mad at her. Like, she doesn't get that. Like, you need to not play the victim right away. You need to be very remorseful, and then maybe later you could play the victim. But she's just trying to make it seem like it's like Tom Sandoval like held her down in a room for 9 months and trapped her in a basement. I mean, no, you knew what you were doing. She was like giggling, talking about the first time they hooked up. I mean, disgusting. And all I was picturing, because it wasn't a video, it was just a podcast, so it was just her voice, but all I was picturing is like her stupid smile, and she's just like laughing. Now, I don't know if she has like a nervous laugh, so when she talks about things that make her nervous, she laughs, but she also smiles. So it's like after a while, we just think you have no soul and that you're just doing this because you're like a sociopath. I feel like that's how like Charles Manson was. He was like, had no remorse in jail, and when he was doing those interviews, he's like crazy. And I feel like those girls, when they were on trial for murder for him, they were like skipping in the hall and like laughing. I feel like that's Raquel with all this. I mean, she's like, yeah, we like made out and Ariana was like upstairs asleep. And we did that for like 9 months, but I really feel like I was the victim. It's like, no. And then she was saying that she feels like her castmates made her drink. No, I don't think so, because I know one castmate that wouldn't make you drink Lala because she's sober, and you did a Las Vegas trip with her. And I feel like Katie was pretty mellow on that trip, and Christina Kelly was with them, and she was like, unbeknownst to everyone, pregnant during that, so she wasn't drinking. So really the only person that was her drinking ally was Katie, and she wasn't getting like blacked out. Like, you were the one blacking out, making out with Oliver, Garcelle's son. Like, don't play the blame game and say that anybody was making you do that. I think she was having like a midlife crisis because she was already at that point having the secret affair with Tom. And I think she was just like going a little buck wild. I don't know. But then she started talking about Graham, the doggy. So we're going to see it play out this season. But she said, oh, and by the way, I need to just say this. The whole time she was like talking to someone / someone was like interviewing her. And I'm like, first of all, why is someone interviewing you on your podcast? And then I'm like, whoever this person is, because they never even introduced at the beginning. It wasn't like, hi, this is my guest so-and-so, which that's what I mean. I don't know how long her podcast is going to last. I mean, don't want to knock people down because I'm a newbie doing my podcast, but she just doesn't have it. And the fact that she didn't introduce the person and that person was like interviewing her for her first podcast, it's like, that's not how it goes. You're supposed to interview people. I mean, and then sometimes they ask you questions, but the whole time this person was asking her questions. And I feel like it was to keep her on track, because if not, she wouldn't know what the heck she's doing. So then it did later come out that she's like a producer on the show. Still, they didn't introduce her. They just said like, oh, because when you're in production, like you. And I was like, oh, okay, now we figured it out. So we're all like typing to each other on the live TikTok, like, who is this woman? So then they started talking about Graham. So in the new season, we already knew that like when she was in treatment, allegedly, Graham bit Raquel's mom, and they wanted to give Graham away. Now, this is a sensitive topic, and shout out to all my dog parents. I'm a dog mommy. We have a golden doodle. His name is Frankie. He's our baby angel. We had him before our kids, so he's 7. He was the first baby, and they are like your children. And just the fact that I feel like I'm picturing her being like a hoe, hooking up with Tom all the time, leaving that poor sweet baby angel dog alone in her hoe dungeon apartment. He's probably like had repressed anger on her, and maybe that's why he was starting to like lash out. And because dogs do need attention and love, and they need care like real children and or people. I mean, we don't want to be locked away by ourselves. And dogs, I've heard that their time, like we could leave them for a couple hours, they think we've left for like 2 days. So if she's out gallivanting, hooking up with Sandoval all night, he's thinking she's like just moved away for the day. So apparently when she was in treatment, the dog was getting a little aggressive, bit her mom. So the parents were like calling and telling Raquel they're going to like bring him somewhere. And, you know, she's just like, okay. I don't know, my butt would have been breaking out of that spa she was at. I really don't find it to be a treatment center, but, and done something with the dog. Or call Lisa. Number one thought, I mean, you should be calling Lisa or your parents should be calling Lisa. I mean, she owns a, like, dog center, for goodness sake, and she's obsessed with animals and an animal activist. And I know their thought would never be, let's call James, since even though Raquel was gifted that dog from her parents, she was gifted the dog, and her and James like immediately were dating. So basically the dog was raised by both of them. But, they don't like James at all. So they're not going to call him and be like, would you like the dog? And he would have been like, yes, because, in this season, we saw him asking to see the dog because he was like sad. And I was like, my God, it's like they're going to have to go get custody for the dog. But her parents bring it somewhere. And then I guess somebody did like adopt the dog. So they're thinking, oh, okay, the dog has gone to like a nice home. Well, 3 days later, those people bring it to a shelter. And that's the risk if you're giving the dog to somebody who you don't even know. They could bring it to a shelter. So to put that out there, her parents did not bring it to a shelter directly, but they gave it to someone they didn't know. So that's why I really think they should have called Lisa to just handle the whole thing anyway. So I guess the dog was chipped, and they called Lisa. And she was like, oh, I will take the dog. So then in this new season, we got a little tidbit of information. She's not on the show, so I feel like she wouldn't get in trouble. There's no, penalty for her, but she let out like a cat out of the bag for the new season. So new juicy gossip of what's to come. Apparently, on that Lake Tahoe trip, the dog is going to be reunited with James, and it was Lisa doing it. So Lisa brings the dog on the Lake Tahoe trip to James and gives it to James. And she wanted Raquel there. This is what Raquel says, that Lisa reached out to her and said, why don't you come on and come to this trip? And then Raquel's feeling is they were going to do that in front of her on the trip, like blindside her, give the dog to James, and or maybe she'd try to give the dog back to Raquel. I don't know. I mean, yes, I do love Lisa, but yes, she is a little bit of Bobby Fischer. The chess pieces moving. She knows how to make great TV, though. But I feel like Raquel is like mad James has the dog. And it's like, you know what? You didn't care about the dog because you were leaving him to go hook up with Tom Sandoval all the time. Then you leave for like a long time to go work on your mental health, even though arguably the mental health is just you being a hoe. And your parents probably didn't even want the dog. And the dog is scared. It's like a lot of uproar for this dog. I mean, if you think about it, he lived with Raquel and James, then James left. So he's probably like, where's James? Then Raquel is like probably stupid and not sorry to say that, but she is. Not taking care of the dog well enough, not paying attention to the dog, so maybe he becomes aggressive. And then she's leaving completely, leaves him with the parents, then the parents bring him to an owner, then he goes to a shelter. Poor baby is finally reunited with James. I felt like it was the scene on Legally Blonde when they go get the dog, her nail lady and her, Paulette, and she's like getting the dog from her ex-husband. I feel like that's what it was for James, like, I'm taking the dog, dumbass, like that part. And, Raquel's like, oh, the dog should be with someone that won't make him aggressive, because she claims that James made the dog be aggressive. Now, I'm speaking from personal ownership. I have a golden doodle. They are literally the least aggressive breed ever. I mean, yes, we did train him. My husband did a great job training him. And yes, any dog could flip on you or be aggressive, but that more draws back to how you have acted or the life you have given the dog, I truly believe. I mean, our dog, wouldn't hurt a fly, and he's so good with our girls. I mean, they could go up and dump his whole food bowl on the ground, and he would just stand there and be like, okay. He would just sit down and be like, that's fine. So I don't understand why Raquel's making it seem like this poor little golden doodle's like a murderer. Maybe he just didn't like you. Because James has the dog, and dog's looking great. Because I look on the Instagram, and just the other day, before I was listening to this Rachel Goes Rogue, he had Graham on his Instagram stories, and he was just being a little baby angel on the couch, as most golden doodles are. So, I don't know. I am glad that he is reunited with the dog, though. I feel like it's good for him, because I know he missed that dog, and he now knows that the dog is safe, and Allie embraced it. And then that was the other thing. It was so weird. Raquel was like, yeah, I mean, James just brought the dog home and didn't even ask his girlfriend. Well, most girls don't care because first of all, Allie has a cat, and you can tell she's like a gentle soul, like animal lover. And why is she going to care if James is rescuing the dog, basically, because he had no home? And it used to basically be James' dog anyway. Like, why would she care? So, I don't know. Just anything at this point. I think Raquel just needs to, not be on a social platform, because maybe some people like her, but I feel she's not doing herself justice. Like, Tom Sandoval, we all still hate him. He's a demon, but when he's going on these platforms or shows, at least he's, just better. Like, he is owning that he did wrong and blah, 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 but she, on the other hand, is just totally, pointing the finger at everyone else but herself. Like, not once did she say, I knew this was wrong and I shouldn't have done this. It's instead she's, making it seem like he made her do that. Because then she goes into the detail of them hooking up. And he, had invited her in for a nightcap. And she's like, oh, yeah, twist my arm, why don't you? And then going back to everyone's making me drink. I guess this is what you think. And, what is a nightcap to them? Like a Coors Light? He's locked out of the house, which was weird because it's your own house. And then that's when they go out by the fire pit. And she's like, is your pool heated? And he's like, yeah, do you want to get in? And she's like, yeah. So also, I guess this is all his fault, too. Then she says she takes her pants off, takes her shirt off, and they get in the pool. So it's you're in your little underwear and your little bra, and you're in the pool. And then she claims that he grabbed her face and kissed her. And maybe, but this is what she has to understand. She's given some signals for him to give it a go and move on in, because I'm married. I'm not getting in no pool with one of my friends, or let alone one of my friends' boyfriends that they live with and they're asleep upstairs in my underwear. So, and then she said that Ariana was asleep upstairs, which was the gross part. And then the producer was so weird, almost egging on this behavior and her behavior. And she's like, oh my God, this is so juicy. I wish a camera was there. It's oh my God. I mean, I understand because that would make great TV, but also I don't think they're going to do that on camera. Hello. But, yeah, I thought she was a terrible person to have on there too, because she was just totally on Raquel's side. And then at the beginning, she did say my iHeartRadio family. It's you mean Bethany, the one that stirred up all this garbage for you to even partake in. And I feel that she's steering you down a dangerous path of even participating in this, because her whole mentality is to take everyone down, the whole reality reckoning. And I feel she's just tagging along with her, and that's not the smart move on her part, honestly. But yeah, I don't know if I could ever listen again. And then somebody wrote in the TikTok live, which was so funny, which I was truth. They were thank God we're all collectively listening to this, so we're just giving her one listen. And I was truth, girl. Because there was probably at one point about 1,400 of us all listening at once. So thank God we didn't give her 1,400 listens. We just gave her one. Because it was rough. And also it's okay, so you talked all about that. I don't know what she's going to talk about anymore. And she's not a good talker. She had to have this woman basically the whole entire time that we found out was her producer interview her. So are you going to be able to just sit there and talk? And are people even going to care? And are people going to be able to listen to your voice? She also said that she listened to Tom's interview on Teddy and Tamra's podcast, the 2 T's in a Pod, 5 times. So the sentence before that, she was saying, I just really feel like I need to separate myself from the drama. But then in the next breath, she's saying she listened to that 5 times. First of all, 5 times is sociopath. And then she's saying that he just gives her the ick, and she has blocked him and she's glad to be away from him. Well, why are you listening to him 5 times then? I don't know if she had to listen 5 times to like comprehend what he was saying because she can't focus or she didn't understand anything he was saying, but I don't know. That was a little mind-blowing that she said that. But so Rachel Goes Rogue has officially aired, and that is my report on it. Oh, and then, oh my God, this is so funny. One other really funny thing that happened on the TikTok live. So after we were done listening to the whole thing, then we were all kind of discussing, you know, like more about what we thought. This girl started writing on it and she's like, I went to high school with Tom Sandoval. And we're all like, oh my God, get her on the live. Get her on the chat. So then like the girl that hosted the TikTok live, like phoned her in. And she was telling stories about Tom Sandoval in high school. So she said that she did have a crush on him and that she was like flat-chested in high school and like an ugly duckling. And Tom Sandoval used to lift his shirt up and be like, her name is Shannon. He was like, hey, Shannon, do I remind you of anybody? Like, meaning like she's flat-chested and has no boobs. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so mean. But yeah, she just said that she did have a crush on him. And I just thought that was hilarious. We got someone on that went to high school with him. And then Ariana's friend Brad was on the chat, but we did not like phone him in. So he didn't want to like talk, but he was typing. And we were like, oh my gosh, has Ariana listened to Rachel Goes Rogue? And he said, no, but like, and I don't even think he listened, but he said other people have and just basically told her what it was, which I agree. If there's one listen that doesn't want to give one, it's Ariana. Like, she's not going to give her that one extra listen. So totally get it. You can spark note it and listen to all of our podcasts, girl, to get the recap. But that was pretty fun. I would like to like get into doing stuff like that. I'm thinking about doing an Instagram live for the Southern Charm reunion. It's on this Thursday, which, oh my God, I'm so excited for. I know my last episode, I was getting all amped up about the finale because that was, oh my God, I mean, just Austin and Taylor. And then JT doing that fight, that was pretty good. So I just cannot wait for the reunion. It's only a 2-parter, which I think is good because sometimes when it's 3 parts, sometimes it's necessary, but sometimes I'm like, no, I just want it all in 2 weeks because it's hard enough to even wait the week. I would like pay $10 to have them both on the same night, honestly. I mean, Bravo, you need to think about that. And also another thought is they film for like 8 or 12 hours, literally, in the day. Let's see all that unseen footage. I'll pay for that too. Like, let's get a bundle. Let's get it. And that would be great. I would watch all 8 hours, every minute, especially the Vanderpump reunion. Are you kidding me? Release that footage that was not shown because I bet it was some bad ones. I bet like Lala and James were just going off too much. Like, do you want to get popped, Raquel? Do you want to get popped? With her like demon claws she had that day. Like, that was good. But, yeah, thinking about doing that on Instagram for a live, just for a little bit, not the whole entire time, but I think that would be good. I'm going to make a nice little mocktail for myself. No, I am not pregnant, but I am just trying to, in the new year, like limit alcohol a little bit more to like 1 day a week. So maybe save it for like when we go out to eat on the weekend instead, trying to stay in shape. Honestly, I'm trying to look like Madison and Olivia. They got some rockin' bods. And sadly, our glasses of wine or our little cocktails we like to have watching these shows put on the extra weight. So I'm going to try this cool mocktail I saw that is supposed to help you sleep too. It's going viral. It's like I bought the tart cherry juice the other day at Whole Foods when I was shopping. That's what's in it. It's kind of just like tart cherry juice, like a sparkling water and some like fresh lime juice. So it said that tart cherry, I guess, like, is kind of like a natural melatonin and helps you relax. So, and I probably will need to relax during the reunion because I'm going to, like, throw something at Taylor if she wants an apology. Next, like, she'll want an apology from Olivia. Austin thought he was getting one, then next she'll want one. But, Yeah, so I'll post the recipe when I make it, and then maybe that could be all of our fun like cocktails we have when we watch our Bravo shows, like little. Besides our wine, I will have to have a glass of wine for the first premiere of Jersey because I feel like it's just the Italian thing to do. It's the right thing to do. But to close out on a gossip info, just breaking on Tuesday, Joe Gorga was kicked out of his son's wrestling match in New Jersey. So the older one, Gino, is like a good wrestler. We always see their Instagram videos of him in high school. He has to be like a sophomore by now because Antonia is in her freshman year of college. Honestly, he may even be in his junior year. That'd be crazy. But yeah, Joe Gorga is like storming at the coach. And then some people are saying he's like storming at the opponent too. So the kid. That would be pretty weird. I'm sorry, not the coach, the ref. So I guess the ref was making some calls that he didn't like because apparently the other kid was doing some like illegal stuff. You know, never been to a wrestling match, but it is very technical. I feel like there's a lot of things that they can do that's illegal that if the ref isn't calling, I would understand as a parent or a coach, you would be mad. So he stormed onto the floor mat. Immediately they're whistling at him saying, get out. The ref is like, get out of the gym. Get out of the gym. And it just brought me back to the good old days.
Joe. Hey, Joe. What? Apologize? No!
So, just channeled me back to Joe and Joe fighting. Thought he was going to get in a fight with the ref with that whistle. But we'll see. Maybe he's going to be banned from the high school wrestling forever. That would be sad. And I don't know. I'm half and half. I know some people are like, oh, he has such a big temper and blah, blah, blah. But those sports parents, man, they get into it. I was a competitive dancer. And I mean, the dance moms get into it, you know. We support our kids. And sometimes if it's like being unfair and you know the other kid is doing something wrong to your kid, you're upset. You're amped up. And he's a little hot-headed Italian anyway. So he was getting out there. I thought he was going to like, if there was a folding chair nearby, he probably would have threw the folding chair. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the gossip. I unfortunately do not watch Salt Lake City. So my New Year's resolution will be to get into that because it's like making me jealous. I may just watch that reunion even though I've never watched an episode just because it's so juicy. Like maybe that's where I'll start off the reunion with a bang. Because I know a lot of stuff is happening in that world. Wish I could report on that because I know it's juicy. Oh, before we go, forgot, which is funny I'm going to say I forgot because we're going to be talking about Tom Girardi forgetting everything. No. The judge has officially ruled that Tom Girardi is up playing his Alzheimer's and dementia, and he is fit to stand trial. So this is going to be real interesting because they were really trying to milk his dementia, I think. I mean, like, 1 minute he was like emailing, they said in like October, not of this year, and probably not even of last year. It was like the year before that. Like 2 months later, they were then having him like in slippers lost on the street. Like, no, stuff like that doesn't happen overnight. It progresses. They're playing it up. They were playing it up when he was like going in front of the judge to see if he was fit to stand trial. They had a suit on and that was too big for him, like bedroom slippers. It's like, all right, come on. I mean, you may have dementia, but somebody can dress you. Like, why did someone consciously hand you slippers? Don't tell me that he put the slippers on and argued with you to wear the slippers. You could just put shoes on him. So I think he should be in jail. Dementia or not, there was probably like an old people jail for people that are bad, that are old. I mean, we're all bad. When we need to be punished accordingly. There was a lot of victims that, like, he was calling them and they got a $10 million settlement. He was calling them saying they got a $3 million settlement and then keeping the rest for himself. That's sick. That's disgusting. A lot of these victims were injured. They needed it for doctor's visits, for maybe making their home more suitable for themselves to like live, and yeah, to pay their bills, and they deserve it, not him. So that's going to be interesting. I would love to see that trial. I hope they like air it like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard one. And speaking of trial, one other thing. Sorry, I know I said I was done, but now I'm on a tangent. Over the weekend, I don't know about you guys, but like besides Bravo, I love to watch like 60-minute like and murder and stuff like that. Basically go from like women yelling to like murderers being locked up in jail for the bad things they did. We watched all the Gypsy Rose stuff. Now that, talk about a victim, that poor girl. Whew, I mean, it's not right that her mother was killed, but I don't know. I mean, man, 23 years of her living like that, like, and she said, like, yes, I should have tried to get help, but she really couldn't because she just lived with the mom. The mom, like, chained her to the bed to herself. Like, it was sad. And then she said that her mom would, like, tell people she was mentally challenged. So even if she did go up to someone and be like, please help me, like, my mom, like, locks me in my room, they would probably think she doesn't know what she's saying because maybe she's mentally challenged, which is sad. Oh, my God. So she got released from prison. I listened to a podcast with her. Nick Vile had her on. That was good. Well-spoken young lady. So hopefully she is loving freedom. Good for her because she didn't have freedom at all. And then another one we watched was on Lifetime. It was Casey Anthony's parents took lie detectors. Oh, that made me so mad. I remembered the Casey Anthony stuff, but like wasn't like so detailed and followed. Like I honestly, I just thought she was like in jail. She was not. She did about 4 years, and then she was acquitted of the murder because 11-1 jury said there was not enough evidence to charge her with the murder for her daughter. Now, if you guys don't know the details, she was a young mom. She got pregnant at 18 by somebody she really didn't even know. She was like passed out at a party. So that's already alarming. It seems like she didn't really want the daughter. She said she would give her chloroform because she couldn't sleep. So then she could go out and party. That's disgusting. That's electric chair just for that. I mean, my God, disgusting. And then obviously at the time no one knew, but like the child was deceased. 31 days goes by. She's out partying. Then she reports her missing. That's weird. And then 5 months after that, they do find the poor little girl's body. And then they looked in Casey Anthony's trunk of her car. The forensic unit did like a lab. It tested positive for chloroform, which we already know she was chloroforming her to sleep. DNA of the baby. And why is your baby in the trunk anyway? Unless you're doing something harmful to her. And it was like a car trunk, like not an open one, like a SUV. Like it was closed. No one should be in there. And then hair from the baby. Now, I don't know who was on that jury, but maybe they all have dementia because to me, that is enough evidence to lock someone away for murder. The fact that she didn't even report the daughter missing for 31 days and she was partying during that, obviously you weren't concerned where she was. And who else would want this little 2-year-old girl gone besides you? Because I think she was being resentful. She was 22. Probably didn't even want the baby because she got pregnant at a party by someone she barely knows. So I guess she had a documentary last year. She was then coming out blaming the dad, said he sexually assaulted her, then said the brother sexually assaulted her. And it's like, okay, I will never watch that documentary, but I saw her eyes and how she was talking. She looks like a demon and she looked like a liar. So her parents both took lie detector tests voluntarily because they want to clear their name because now the daughter's saying all this terrible stuff about him. The lie detector guy said they passed, and then he even made a comment and said he watched some of the clips of Casey Anthony talking. He said she has like body movements of a liar. So you know what, girl? Let's get you hooked up to that lie detector test. and see who the liar is. I think she is. And her story always changes. The real sick part that made me so angry was, even if tomorrow they would prove she did it, she was acquitted, so she could never, ever, ever go to jail for it. She could never. You can never be tried for the same thing again. Disgusting. Makes me so angry. Sorry, I just went off on a tangent, but I had to get that out because besides Austin and Taylor making me angry on Southern Charm, that made me so angry because I love my babies, and I know all of us love our babies, whether we are having pets as our babies or humans as our babies. We care about them, and that really choked me up watching that and made me angry at the same time. So if you guys ever want to take a break from watching Bravo, I highly suggest watching those two specials. They were on Lifetime. That's another good dramatic channel I like if I'm not watching Bravo. But as always, this was fun doing our little gossip. You can follow me on Instagram at Bravo T with a stay-at-home mom. I'm on Spotify and Apple. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.